Hey folks, welcome to Jayant on Cloud. My name is Jayant. I work as a senior principal engineering technologist at Dell Technologies. I'm also a Microsoft Most Valuable Professional. And today on my YouTube channel, I have a very surprise kid. Yes, that's right. That's none other than Ayush Yajaman, who is my son. So, Ayush, welcome to my channel.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, Ayush, do you want to quickly introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Ayush, and as mentioned before, I'm my father's son, and I'm studying in year 11 at Art of Philippi in Parramatta, Sydney, and I intend on pursuing a career in artificial intelligence.
Awesome. So, you are in year 11. So, how old are you, Ayush? I know how old are you, but do you want to just let everybody know how old you are?
Yeah, sure. So I'm 15 years old, and this May I'm going to turn 16.
So, Ayush, so tell me, today we are here to do some podcast with you. The reason there's a reason why I invited you on this channel, and to people who are watching this show as well. We're going to look at why why Ayush was actually invited into my channel, but we'll soon find out. Before that, so I just want to kind of let everybody know that Ayush is very passionate toward pursuing his career in IT. So, Ayush, if I have to ask you, what have you done to pursue a career in IT? Why IT kind of impressed you? Why did you choose that profession in the first place?
So from a very young age, I've always been interested in maths, and my interest in maths has led me to computer science as a subject in year six, and taking computer science led me to a course called White Hat Junior, where I learned how to code. So that was my first real introduction to the world of coding.
So you said white. What is that again? White hat.
White Hat Junior.
Okay. Oh, nice. Okay. So you did pursue some kind of coding in White Hat Junior.
Yes.
Okay. So that's nice. So what was the coding all about in White Hat Junior?
Okay, so we basically did a lot of JavaScript, and like I learned a lot about like classes, objects, and a instance of how objects are instances of classes and stuff like that.
That's nice. So you already got an idea about some kind of object-oriented programming concepts already,
Uh-huh.
right? Oh, that's impressive. So did you say you got certified in White Hat Junior?
Yeah. So I think that was like we had to complete a course, and then upon the completion of the course, and then we had to submit a project, and then after submitting the project, we get certified as like a game developer.
So in other words, you love doing programming, don't you?
Yeah, 100%.
That's awesome. All right, so that's good to know, Ayush. Very few people have that passion towards getting into IT. I'm really, glad that you've actually, put in a lot of thought behind this, and you're kind of driving this passion. So, it's an important question, that will help a lot of youngsters who are watching this YouTube video as well. What really, what kind of background work did you do, or have you been doing so far to pursue your career in IT?
In year 11, so what I did was, year 11 is where you get to choose your subjects, and it's kind of where you decide on which career path you need to go to, because after changing career path after year 11 is really difficult, especially if you're like going through like an academic pathway like the ATAR or something like for Australian citizens. So it's really difficult to change career paths. And so, I'd done a lot of research work, and then, from year six, I knew that, IT was something that I would go into. And
Wow.
so that's why for year 11, I chose subjects that can lead me into that career. Like, it may be maths, it may be software engineering, and so on and so forth. So, I chose those kind of subjects. And for me, until the end of last year, for me, everything computer science was just coding. It was nothing else. And my window into the world of AI was when I started this research project with another boot camp. It was called Indigo. So that's when I really like got an idea of what AI is. Before I was like, AI was a buzzword. It was everywhere. Everyone saying AI this, AI that. Nvidia shares are skyrocketing. It's just there, but I don't know what it is. Right? I thought AI is like just another. Okay, I knew that the AI had to do something with like neurons, and then there's some connection to the brain and how AI works. So I thought AI was something that could actually reason or something like that. But I didn't know what AI truly was. I didn't know how people actually made models that could predict or something like that. So at the end of last year was when I really kind of got a high level view of what AI is. And I think that really pushed me into many different things, and one is definitely the AI 102 exam. Um, that
Hold
I guess.
on, hold your horses. Let's talk about that. Now, I think you briefly mentioned about, you did something like, with Indigo, some research program on AI. If I'm not wrong, I think it's got to do with some large language models and stuff like that. But yeah, you know what? We're going to reserve the topic for another day, right? So today, we're going to be probably mostly focusing on your background, which says Microsoft certified. So let's talk a bit about. You briefly mentioned about you did go through some summer camp during your holidays. So do you want to quickly talk about that, Ayush? What was that summer camp all about? Just want to tell everybody what you went through, what you accomplished at the end of that program, and so on.
Yeah, sure. So there was this summer program by Codis in partnership with Microsoft, and it was basically this intensive boot camp that would train us into writing the AI 102 exam, the certification by Microsoft. And it was a 2 weeks long program, and well, it was intensive as the name says, and there was a lot of content to go through, and then we had to do more than anybody teaching us. It was us self-studying, and I think that is what the IT world is all about. It's about you discovering stuff on your own. Like nobody's going to spoon feed you, saying that this is what you have to do, and they're going to guide you, but they like how we have it in schools, a teacher teaching. That's not what's going to happen in the real world. And I think that was something that I really learned through the boot camp. And yeah, in the boot camp we had like this 3-4 hours of self study, and then we had in that 3-4 hours we had to go through some course content, and then we had to do some labs. And then if you wanted to, you could do some extra questions that you could do on your own. And then they used to have these Zoom calls where like hundreds of people used to join, and then there was like a Microsoft or MVP or someone like that, that showed us demos and more, and gave us an insight about how the AI 102 exam is, and so on. And the bootcamp was actually really wonderful. I think that is what really helped me, get through the exam.
That's awesome. So, for those of you who don't know, so I was part of this program as well. I was mentoring all of these students, and apparently, this program was particularly designed for some of the upcoming IT professionals, and then the fresh graduates and tertiary students. But just that, a huge shout out to Microsoft and Acodis, who actually successfully ran this program. And thanks for calling that out, Ayush, as well. So I think, like you mentioned, IT is all about, you're absolutely spot on. Nobody sits and teaches anybody there. It's all about self-learning. There's so much of information that's out there. So because it's an ocean of information, somebody needs to really guide you and say, hey, you know what, this is what you need to really go and look after. So, or look out for. So I think that's very critical. And that's where the Codis and then Microsoft Bootcamp really, I'm sure, would have helped. I'm sure you agree with me as well, Ayush.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, great. All right, so now let's talk about your background, which is the AI 102 certification. So, well, being a 15-year-old, how does it feel to crack an exam, which is AI 102? AI 102, for those of you who do not know, requires a little bit of implementation skills as well. It's not just about your skills on validating your fundamentals, but it's also about how do you solve AI challenges for companies. Uh, how did you manage to crack this, Ayush? Can you give us a little insight about how you're prepared, your preparedness towards cracking this exam?
Yeah, sure. So, I'd mentioned the boot camp. So I attended 1 week of the boot camp, but the second week, what happened was my school started, so I couldn't really attend the second week. And from when my school started, I really couldn't get into grips with studying for the exam because I had a lot of schoolwork. So all I could do was in the weekend study bit by bit, until the exam, which was I think a month later. So I think I used to study bit by bit every weekend, and then 1 week or like 3 days before the exam, I thoroughly studied everything. And by study, what I mean is not just going through the content again and again and again until it just sits into your head. Because if you do it like that, you're definitely not going to pass. Because this is not checking your knowledge. Like if you study that A equals B, they're not going to ask you what is A equal to, because that is not how the questions are asked. So the only way you can which I think you can crack the exam is A, do labs, and B, do a lot of questions. That you can find multiple question dumps online, and I think that's the most effective way to study for the exam. And the exam itself, the exam was 50 questions long. It was 1 hour 40 minutes, and all of them were MCQs, and there was one case study, which in my opinion is always the hardest.
Hold on. You said MCQs. What's that?
Okay, so MCQs are basically like a multiple choice. So
Oh, okay.
they'll give you
So it's
they'll give,
multiple choice questions.
yeah, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so they're gonna give you four questions, and then you choose one answer, and there's always only one right answer. And
Awesome.
there are also, sorry, there are also questions that you have to they're like you have to put it into different columns and then order it correctly. That's like the steps of how you'd implement a solution.
That's great. That's great. So it's I really encourage you, Ayush, maybe just come out with some kind of a blog on detailing your preparations for AI 102. I'm sure that's going to help a lot of people watching as well, and a lot of people who are out there who are trying to crack AI 102 because it is an important certification, considering we are in the AI era right now. But if I may request you, maybe you can just come up with some kind of a blog or something. Uh, would you do that favor for me?
Yeah, sure, 100%.
Okay. All right. That's great. All right. So let's get rolling. The next question I have is, all right, Ayush. So we spoke about AI certification and your AI intensive boot camp and all of that. Now, tell me, what are your next career goals? What are you planning to achieve?
Okay, so well, s- as I've already mentioned before, ever since year 6, I've always been into like, I've always been like, okay, I have to pursue IT as my career. So and after year 11 and after the research program with Indigo and the boot camp with the Codes and the AI 102 certification, now I'm pretty sure of what I'm going to do in IT because, as I said before, IT is a vast field. There are multiple different things you can do, and as you were telling me today earlier, there are different categories in MVP as well. So it just goes to show how vast IT is. So I think now I've come to terms with what I'm going to do in IT, and it has to do with something related to AI, maybe engineering AI models or something like that. So maybe studying a course like mathematics and computer science in uni, and then to help me pursue that kind of career.
So, Ayush, I know you kind of did the Microsoft bootcamp. Now you have the background that says Microsoft certified. You're also Microsoft AI 102 certified as well. Makes me definitely ask this question. Are you kind of more inclined towards the Microsoft technology, or you're just more familiar with Microsoft technology?
Okay, I would say that I'm more familiar with Microsoft technology because I hear you talking about Microsoft technology day in and day out. Be it in my room doing my work and you in a call talking about hybrid cloud and whatnot. And then, or, you just coming up to me and talking about how your day went. Everything is related to Microsoft. So I would say that it's definitely because I'm more familiar with Microsoft.
Awesome. So, you kind of touched upon MVP, but I would love to see you become an MVP at some point because it's also not about, just going and achieving the MVP part of it, but it's also about passionately sharing your knowledge across the community that really matters, and that's what drives most of the MVP professionals as well. Although you are still not qualified to be an MVP, but I know at some point of time, are you really pursuing or looking at maybe getting into the Microsoft Ambassador program? Because once you turn 16, I know you're not 16 yet, but once you turn 16, you become eligible for Microsoft Ambassador program. So are you kind of excited about getting into Microsoft Ambassador program?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's a pathway to go to become an MVP. And my question would be, why not take it, right? I mean, what's the harm in becoming an MVP?
Awesome. I'm super impressed that you want to kind of crack into MVP at some point. But yeah, student ambassador program is really a great program. For those of you who do not know, so Microsoft has a student ambassador program. The minimum age criteria for that is you got to be 16. So once you turn 16, show your credential about how you're passionately sharing your knowledge with the community. And yeah, Microsoft has a pathway, like Ayush was saying, definitely has a pathway to become an MVP at a later point of time. So Ayush, so kind of your influence towards Microsoft technology. You did track, AI 102. Now you're also looking at the student ambassador program. Um, so it's very, very important for you to understand that, becoming something like a student ambassador, you got to really influence others as well. You got to share your knowledge with the community. So what are your thoughts or what are your plans to influence others in the community?
I mean, it's always difficult to do, to influence or to share knowledge, especially among your peers, because your peers are people who were, very diverse, like not many people I know, at least in my entire grade, want to go into the field of IT. Like some want to become a doctor, some want to become carpenters. It's their choice. So it's really hard. I mean, given that there is no particular platform, especially in schools, to advocate something that is IT related. So it is hard, but at least among those peers who are genuinely interested in IT and who are genuinely interested in the same things that I'm interested in, and who can put the time and effort to learn about AI and stuff like that. Those are people who I can definitely share my experience and talk with them, and you get them to do the certifications as well and share my knowledge, and that can be my community contribution.
That's awesome. So it's good to know that you're willing to share your journey with a lot of people who are aspiring to be IT professionals at some point, which is great. That in itself is a great thing that you're doing. At least you have you're looking for a platform where you can share. So I think Ayush, Microsoft thankfully provides you those kind of platforms really well. For example, you can start blogging, you can start doing some videos about your journey, or you can start going and doing some talk shows for things like, for example, Microsoft Reactor. There's you and me talked about Microsoft Reactor as well. So we have one in Sydney in Australia. So I think probably that's a great platform, like you said. Not necessarily you may have like-minded individuals in your school, but I think if you kind of start arranging your own set of groups and people eventually start joining those groups. So meetup groups is one classic example where you can start your own meetup group. Then like-minded individuals will join those meetup groups, or just walk into the Microsoft Reactor through meetups, or do a presentation and do some contribution in meetups as well. So, are you excited about going to Microsoft Reactor at some point?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the chance of speaking to other like-minded individuals who are genuinely interested in the same things as you, definitely.
Just to kind of summarize, right? So, I know you're still young, very young in the was knocking at the door of IT. But last word, last question: how excited are you about your career in IT?
A simple one-word answer. Very excited.
That is awesome. All right, guys, thank you so much for listening to us. If you have any questions, feel free to, put that up in the comment section. And yeah, if I'm super excited about what Ayush can do for the community as well. I'm going to help him as well in the direction. So those who are out there who want to kind of, join us as well, or during this entire journey of sharing this knowledge with the community, feel free to message us. We'll be more than happy to help our journey, and we also look forward to listening to your journey as well.